Hi guys, Laura here. Today I'm gonna show you a little bit about the capital of Moldova, Chisinau. And as usual, there are very strange things going on with the architecture and with mud-flooded buildings. And so I thought I'm just gonna show you around. I have taken pictures myself of the city, how it looks today, and I'm gonna show you old photographs of the old architecture and some of the stories, how they were built. And at the end, I'm gonna show you a couple of pictures I took in Munich and what I've seen there when it comes to architecture, symbolism, and the peoples that have taken over before the last reset. So, here we go. Alrighty. So, Chisinau was founded in 1436 as a monastery village. At the beginning of the 19th century, Chisinau was a small town of 7,000 inhabitants. Under Russian government, Chisinau became the capital of the newly annexed Oblast of Bessarabia. By 1834, an imperial townscape with broad and long roads had emerged as a result of the generous development plan, which divided Chisinau roughly into two areas: the old part of the town, which is irregular building structures, beautiful building structures, and a newer city center and station. We have the architects in 1814, the building of the Triumphal Arch, as in every town, even in this little town, was constructed, so to say, and following this, the construction of numerous buildings and landmarks began. So at first they built up the Arch, which is an interesting detail. Hold on a second. So here you can see it. So this is Chisinau in 1889, supposedly. Looks pretty flooded. What would you say? So at 1919, Chisinau had an estimated population of 133,000 people. Between 1918 and 1940, the center of the city undertook a large renovation work. Romania granted important subsidies to its province, blah, blah, blah. Something. Here. On November 1940, a devastating earthquake occurred. In June 1941, just a couple months later, 6 months later, we got involved in the Second World War, and it got bombed. This is how it used to look, I think, in the 70s. So you see these buildings, and when I went through the city, I was like, something is strange here, because it seems like it's a set for a movie. It doesn't really make sense, and you see that it's in the old world style, and it is mud flooded, but it's plastered all over again. So here are some really interesting architecture styles. All of the old buildings and even the new ones from the so-called Soviet time are going underground. And the city is just full of very ugly Soviet buildings. And those houses that were really beautiful are just like, you see, they disappearing. They're disappearing. And this is how the majority in the city lives. Beautiful, isn't it? you're gonna feel very good about yourself when you're living in those types of places. And yeah, this is how these are doors on the top. No, here these are doors which are holding this whole construction for renovation. So the decay of architecture is immense, and what they're doing is building these types of new buildings that are still all over Germany. And you have these older, more simpler buildings in front. This reminded me a lot of Antiquitech, just not Antiquitech, but Soviet time. And this I found also very interesting. A huge tree that is left over in the park. This is in the library of Chisinau. And this is how they handle their documents. And basically, yeah, this is the beauty. And you see this stone. And I think it's strange that it's going underground, and even those, so to speak, newer buildings, but they're still brick. So what I've noticed is that they get like a new front, a lot of the buildings, which are more like metally style, and underneath is brick. So who knows? You can't really figure out how old the buildings are most of the time because they're plastered over. But yeah, that's that. So approximately 6 months before the bombing started, the city had a lot of earthquakes and landslides, it even says. So this is the earthquake, and I think this was on purpose. And because of the Soviet times of the Soviet Union, not much of the information came out about the actual destruction or actually the people that have died. And so the effects manifested by landslides, fissures, settlements, formation of cracks in the surface layers of the crust, water spurting from cracks formed alongside rivers. According to recorded testimonies, luminous phenomena were observed. So lights in the sky moving, both in the epicentral area and in regions that are far away from the epicenter. And there you have the controversial death toll, because it wasn't clear. Not much information came through. So let's take a look at the old Chisinau, shall we? A perfect example. Not much people around. Buggy and horse, dirt roads, and it goes down, 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 down. Here you have another floor, and this looks already old and already like it has been plastered again. It has been plastered over again. So, come on. This is the prison. Yeah, they say they built this thing as a prison. And as you can see again, not much people around. At that time, it was the Russian Imperial time, so I think this is the 1900s. Yeah, and as we have in most of the other cities around the world, just a little amount of people were living there, and then boom, they invested in it, and they had the number of inhabitants just grows extremely. And this is the first church, and as you can see here, it looks like a star fort. At least it's walled. Here we also have some older walls, and this is also very interesting. I think this is ironwork also. So yeah, to me it looks like a castle, very old castle. You can find really information in English. I read it in Russian, and basically they say after the earthquake, a lot of it has been destroyed, but the inmates didn't run away when they got free because the walls were crumbling. No, they stayed and helped to build it up again, their prison. Isn't that... Whoopsie. Damn. Sorry, guys. Isn't that nice? Yeah, so let's move on. Beautiful building, Antiquitech on top, just very little people. And of course, mud flooded. This has been closed up, and the steps are going up. And this looks just like the top of a building. At least 2 or 3, maybe 4 stories could go down. Here we have again this tech without wires. People are in uniforms, and what you will see later, and of course everybody in black. Look at this beauty. Yeah, we're gonna look at some... Oh, what's that? I haven't seen that before. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, so children on the streets were also in uniform types. And here it is again. Beautiful decoration, and what you have here, of course, also statues, all the Phoenician style on that. And again, it doesn't look like this was a door, it looks like this was a window. So here we have the main cathedral that was built, Orthodox cathedral, and it looks like a temple. And then you have those things, so you don't get freezing cold. They were of course added later. Beautiful. And again, ground level goes up, up, up. This is the park. Here again, a very plain building with windows going into the ground. And what I found, of course, here's again covered up. And what I found here interesting is that it seems like it has been cut off at the top. It seems like these are some sort of symbolizing some columns going up, and it's just cut. And what is this? Nothing. Oh, and yeah, of course we have stone lying around. And here they're relaxing. Just posing for the pictures. No trees, no bushes, no nothing, just mud. And in the background, the city. Oh, and the city is also supposedly built on 7 hills, just like Rome. And it's got its name from a spring. Yeah, construction site. What do you think? Huh? Completely built out, and all this rubble in the front. Here we have the castle again, the prison. Yeah, again, a beautiful, beautiful building, and windows going down, people are posing. This is some younger dude with his uniform. Huge ironwork gate. Again, not many people around. This is supposedly the children's hospital. Very beautiful, beautiful mason work. And this I found very Slavic looking building. Here we have it again. And this one. Look at this arches. I think this wall goes way, way down. And those people, of course, in their horse and buggies. Here we have some wood sticking out of the ground. Looks like rubble, looks like stone. Here we have a part of a wall again. And yeah, I mean, yeah, flooded dirt and looking very old again. I think the roofs have been repaired, like in every city before they let the people in. And yeah, I mean, seriously. And again, those buildings look very top heavy. This thing here also, it looks like it's just sticking out of the mud, doesn't it? This is snow, but again, it still looks very flooded. And I found this also interesting because wooden construction, we have a railway here. And of course, when they placed the railways, it again had a boom. But look at those pillars in the water. Looking old. Old, old. Here we have the arc. Here the buildings look more like, because of the drawing, look more like wood. And what you see here, the winter, the extreme winter, we don't have it. Last year I have been making pictures in the bathing suit, basically, outside. And this is the little tiny exposition, a little tiny fair here. And we have the usual shape for the bandstand. And we have some arches with devils on top. And this area has a lot of religious people, different religious people, so I don't get, and this is, I think, 1925. Yeah, this I showed in my first video. It's the globe surrounded by walls, the water crashing in and holding up by Atlas. Yeah, Atlas is holding it up. And when I zoomed in, I saw these representations of the people who took over, and these are the politicians, the military, and of course the scientists. This is how it looked. Some construction of a huge staircase. Yeah, so a wall, everything is flooded, and I think they're excavating here a little bit. Cars, so I think this was maybe in the 50s or 60s. And here we have a beautiful example of a landslide with stone and with bricks, red bricks. And there's of course a tunnel system underneath the city. And yeah, here we have some example of the peoples, all dressed up, of course, in the same style. And what I said is, what I find always interesting is that the kids have these uniforms, and they're looking over the city, watching people, and you can imagine how they will behave when they grow up. I mean, look at his very serious expression. He's just looking like, I'm just gonna stand here and look pretty. Yeah, again, steps are going up. I think they just made out of this window, they made a door. Everybody in uniform. Everybody in uniform. This little guy here too, this little guy, this little guy. I found him very, very funny. Cool look. And he also again in uniform. Again, children in uniform. Here we see the level go up, 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 and the windows are buried underneath it. So I think this is in the 1920s. And it actually looks like in, I don't know, 1900s. Yeah. And again, the usual people's posing. Almost everybody is, I don't know, around maybe 12, 13, 14. And here we have the Phoenician statues. I think these are the multi-breasted figures. And here on top we have the lyre. Greek, Roman, Phoenician gods. Here again, flooded, usual suspects standing around. Not much of a social life going on, just as people like, I don't know, maybe they're distributing at this moment the new arrivals. And here we have some beautiful construction pictures that show us that they built this. This looks extremely unorganized. White stones, alrighty. I'm gonna show you what they built. So this is how they built this. It actually looks like a rune. Maybe they made these little things on top, but this looks like it already has been there. Sorry guys. Just restoring it. And yeah, so this is the beautiful construction. We have this water tower in the back and all of these very old looking beautiful buildings. And this is what they built. Okay, so look at this beautiful window. They have closed that up, and you can see in the construction picture that this is already closed up. So why did they make the shape? I don't think so. I don't think they built this. This looks very unorganized, and this is this, but it is closed up. So I don't really think they built this. Maybe they did this stuff on top and added a little bit of things. And again, this goes up, this goes down into the ground. Yeah, construction. No, actually just restoration of the roof, making a pretty good scene. Yeah, just people hanging around, watching into the camera. This looks very eerie. This looks very, very creepy. Nobody around, just the usual suspects in those uniforms, and this looks like it has at least 2 or 3 stories of, again, going down, and it already looks pretty old. And we have this techie here. Yeah, so this is the Orthodox Cathedral. So this is how they build, guys. This is how people are building for themselves. Very normal, but also very muddy. Again, mud streets. This is going up into the window. Also very old looking settlements. Late 18, early 1900s. Between the wars. Also looks flooded. This also looks flooded. It came down here, and here is a huge window. And they basically just built here this on top. But again, they're in suits. They are in their typical 20s clothes. Also looks extremely flooded. Again, the window made into a door. It just looks like at least the half is missing. yeah, so a little bit of more people here. Completely built out. I think they just plastered it over the old buildings. Look how beautiful. Why would you do that? Why? These huge statues. And these little tacky things on top with the iron work. Trees look very young. Yeah, again, going into the ground, and it just looks, it doesn't look inhabited. Here again, going into the ground, a little bit from the fair. We already have wiring. This is also very beautiful. So they put these things on top to hide the actual building, but all this techie stuff. Again, buried. These look Chinese like, and I mean, look at the stonework here. It's just amazing. So what have we missed? I think already. So I wanted to show you also this one. This is a mansion. It's now, of course, completely gone. There is a park now there, and yeah, it's also looking flooded. Beautiful European style, Tatarian, but actually this looks like it is in France or Italy. Beautiful building. What else do we have here? Yeah, of course, a cafe. Why wouldn't you build this to make a cafe out of it? Here you see the flooding pretty good. This looks actually a little bit German. And yeah, mud everywhere. Oh, so this is pretty interesting. I also haven't found a lot of information on that, but what I found is that they built this memorial outside of the city up to the river, and this looks old, very old. I think this is actually older than that, and they said they built it as a memorial. They built this structure. They didn't build this structure. Actually, I don't think they built this wall. Look at that. I think maybe this goes into an underground system. Maybe from there they brought the new people in. Who knows? Strange little mini hills. Yeah, so they built these things or they restored them. It's like here it looks like they're just like excavating a little bit more space, and yeah, old structure. And here we have these underground brick systems, pipes, and of course they put cement into them after they excavated it. This is not just a water system. Here's the pipe, and here it goes down. And you don't find these pictures. I mean, these are the only two I found about that specific topic. So yeah, Chisinau. Very interesting city. Almost none is left, like I showed in the pictures before. And yeah, it's very sad. You see it in the faces of people. Here I got some World Fair pictures, and this is Vienna, 1873. We have, look at that. And yeah, of course, angels. And what we are finding out, what I have always thought, especially also about these newer, very high buildings from the Soviet time and even now, that they are building, I always said they look like batteries to me. Not only batteries or components of a computer, but also batteries, where you put those chickens in, like a breeding battery. And I find them really gruesome. Yeah, they're awful. And these are looking like motherboards, like computer systems, just prettier than what we have today. So yeah, this is Vienna. This is the Centennial Exposition. Just gorgeous. And look at the amount of freaking people coming in. Yeah, if this doesn't scream simulation, and that there were giants before, just like really big people from elsewhere, most probably, and we have a lot of different people on this area that we're living in. So yeah, Chicago, Colombia, come into our portals. We tell you what your new reality will be like. Come. We're gonna put a spell on you. Paris, 1867. Generator, baby. Or is it a Colosseum? What is this? All the antiquity on top, and it goes on and on. These look flooded. Here, yeah, they definitely look just sticking out of the ground. And canal, of course. Can you imagine how much work it is just to lay the grid for that? Yeah, a huge amount of work. Again, the same. And this is an exposition. This is all built for the exposition. Are you freaking kidding me? Nah. Philadelphia, 1876. London, 1851. London, Mississippi, Philadelphia, USA. Yeah, looks like a circuit board. Programming our reality. And Vienna. This reminds me of Mongolian styles. Mongolian and yeah, no. We have these Greco-Roman stuff, of course, everywhere, but the shape just reminds me of Mongolia. I can tell you why. Again, Vienna. Colombia. I mean, just let us be honest. This of everything was there before, and it got flooded. Or they made this themselves? Nah, I think this looks flooded. Maybe there were canals before here, or most likely those buildings go into the ground, and these were just the grids for the streets, and then it got flooded. Yeah, so that's that. And now I'm gonna show you a little bit of what I found in Munich. In Munich, giants are everywhere. Everywhere. And the people just walking by, they don't ask themselves like, and me too, I haven't asked myself like, what is this and why? And I just thought, well, those kings and queens, they were just very extravagant, and that's why they did this. But who did this? Were the schools, the where did the people come from? Who did this? And why? Yeah. A lot of religious stuff. A little butt. These I found very interesting because this is from the brutalism movement, I would guess, and it has really interesting detail and you cannot see it, but the sphere with the rings around it, very interesting. And you have those antiquiteki styles on top. Here it is empty, you have the lions, and what you find in Munich a lot of times is the pine cone, which represents the pineal gland. And inside the palace, there is just so much Phoenician style, so much Mur style about the ocean and creatures from the ocean. There are different rooms, and I must say when I went through this, here you have them, those mermen and mer women, and here's the pine cone. Here we got some art, and when I went through the castle, I was just like, I can't stay in these rooms because it's just too much of decoration, too much of stuff. And the only room that I found myself very that I found really comforting was the room that talked about the Nibelungen, the big people, the Celtic people basically, and those were much more harmonic and not overloaded. There were just huge pictures, and I was singing in there, and the acoustics were just amazing. So here we got a little bit left over from the so-called Middle Ages, just in the backyard. You don't see it from the streets, and this is in the center of Munich. Brick and this kind of Draco. You have to go into those like from the street. You cannot go into those little okay, how's it called? I don't know. You have to wait until the door opens and you can find treasures. This I found very interesting. It's just there and just oh, window going to the ground. So I sneaked myself inside of those little places and photographed the shit out of it from what I could find. And I wish I would have done this before. I would have much more material on that. This I found very interesting, and the clouds on the globe with the half moon. Here we got the pine cone, just standing for nobody to see. Whispering secrets. This I found funny because of my name. So yeah, Tikwateki with those beautiful green metal, copper, I don't know exactly what it is. This I found, this is in front of the palace, very old stone, a newer stone on top. And what you find when you go into that place is that it is fake. Inside you have the palace, but outside it is completely, it's painted. It's painted on blank walls. Old world window, I love those styles. And here we have the Phoenician symbology with the merfish. This is of course not painted, but the other areas, and you have this Antiquitech lamp. Then again we have Pan, evil looking Pan with his goat feet. And yeah, these types of things. I think I have to do a complete Munich tour of the palace because I have a lot of pictures. I just didn't put them in here. I have to look through them. If you want to know more about these beings and this, why they're always naked little children, go and check out my last video about cupids and cherubim. Yeah, a lot of symbology inside of that palace. A lot of stuff. and I'm gonna do a complete video on Munich, on the palace. And here we have again those lions. They're always portrayed like this, with this sort of human looking face. A little cherubim, a little cupid. Yeah, very intricate boobies, and they look a little bit afraid. I'm surprised. Here we have the globe thing again. There's just so much beauty that it's too much. It's good for walking through, but living in that, I don't know what that does to your consciousness. And here we have, I mean, this whole room was just so beautiful. This is stone, different stone combined into this column. This is a roof. Oh, here, that's me. A huge, huge mirror. And here we got some of the artwork. Also strange little creatures. Some sort of a discussion, a political discussion maybe. This lady I found very, very interesting. I don't know, I love statues. I feel like they move when I look at them. I feel like they're somehow alive. Yeah, and here we have the Mer people again, the Phoenicians, as Martin Liedtke calls them. And I've heard this term before, like the seafarers. And there are many different groups, but they had all a very similar philosophy and style. And here we have the fake Greek room. And everything else in this palace, I mean, this is of course also beautiful, but it looks a little bit more, let's say, unorganic. I don't know, I felt a strange energy there. It was very plain, and this is something I wanted to, this is Greek, and I wanted to ask my friends to translate that, but it was hidden behind the statue. So a lot of how they place things in these rooms are also strange. And yeah, it just doesn't look as, I mean, it's a good artwork for sure, but it doesn't look as intricate as the other rooms. This is a museum from the outside. Mosaic. And you have a fountain outside of that building also, very beautiful fountain, right next to a stream. And here you have the pine cones again, and Phoenician peoples. I think that's it. Yeah. Alrighty guys, so, sorry that I'm so close. That's it for today. As usual, I hope you found that a little bit interesting and inspiring to do your own research about your own city or the place where you were born, and just look into it, because these are global catastrophes that have happened not a long time ago, and society has been set up completely new. If you want to have more information on all these things that I've touched on, I'm going to link Martin Liedtke's channel below. Also other channels that are doing amazing research. And what is funny is that a lot of things that they're discussing now, I have thought about before. And it's amazing to see how synchronized the researchers are, and that we all have the possibility to, or the ability to come to our own findings and conclusion, and it corresponds and connects to the work of other people. So I'm a really small channel, as you see. I don't have the most advanced information out there, but I think if we all do a little bit of contributing to this research and to those very important topics. I think we can learn from each other a lot and get smarter, get wiser, get more confident about this whole reality. So yeah, guys, I wish you a lovely day, and I'm gonna go and prepare my Munich video for you. Goodbye.